Hey, what's going on guys? How is everybody doing? In today's video, we'll be going over several team comps for Zhongli. Zhongli is a powerful and flexible hero and will be able to fit into most team comps with ease. We'll be taking a look at what elemental reactions we'll want to make a priority when choosing teammates, the elemental resonances we can take advantage of, and several team comps that will utilize Zhongli's Geo element to help support his teammates. We'll be discussing team comps from the best of the best to those easily accessible to free-to-play players. And just a reminder that there will be a poll in the description below for you guys to vote on which team comp from today's video you'd like to see a more in-depth breakdown on, covering full character builds and gameplay. Now, with that out of the way, let's jump right into the video. Zhongli is really quite limited in his reaction choices, both those that he can help trigger himself and those he can take advantage of, the most obvious of these being Crystallize. As a Geo hero, Crystallize is actually the only reaction that he can be one half of. I would think of Crystallize as less of a protection reaction and more of an enabler reaction, such that when we want our reactions to Crystallize, we aren't so invested in the actual protection the elemental shards provide, as overall the shield capacity is quite low, only offering around 1400 HP with a level 90 Zhongli, which is even weaker than a lot of hits at high world levels or abyss floors. Instead, we should use it to enable the Geo Resonance, as that is where we will get the most benefit. Though, because our main hero for this video is Zhongli, this will be more of a backup since the main shield we'll focus on using is his own. One important thing to note about Crystallize is that because of the way Geo is applied to your previously applied element's gauge, it won't actually remove the aura element. So you won't have to worry about Zhongli's skill's passive damage interrupting any of your reactions. You can continue on without any hesitation. The other main reaction being Superconduct, which will be one of his strongest, though only beneficial if you're utilizing Zhongli as your main physical carry. Just keep in mind that since the majority of enemies in Genshin Impact have 10% physical resistance, once we go under 0% resistance, all additional debuffs will be halved. And since Zhongli's shield drops us below 0% by itself, we won't be getting as much value as we once were, though it's still very powerful against high defense enemies such as Rune Guards or Lulchurls. We already mentioned it briefly when discussing the reactions, but Enduring Rock will be Zhongli's overall best resonance hands down. Not only because it's so easy to build, as he's already one half of the resonance, but because of how powerful it is with the newly introduced 1.3 buffs. We already received a 15% damage increase before the buffs, but now we also will receive a 15% durability improvement to all of our shields when shielded. Dealing damage to enemies will lower their Geo Resonance by 20%, further increasing the damage either from Zhongli or any other Geo heroes you may have on your team. While in most cases the 15% damage increase won't actually be as effective as Fervent Flames, for our Geo heroes specifically, Geo Resonance will now most often provide more damage, which leads us into our next best resonance, which is of course the Pyro Resonance Fervent Flames. Even if one is better than the other, who says we can't run both? A 25% boost to our attack for essentially free is only going to help increase our damage, especially with the honorary 5-star Pyro support that usually comes along with it. Cryo Resonance is also something to consider since Zhongli won't be able to remove Cryo easily with his Geo application. Though I think in most cases, given Zhongli's best teammates, you'll be better off with other builds. Our first team is honestly my favorite. If you like seeing a lot of numbers pop up on screen, this one is for you. This team features Zhongli as our main DPS, followed by Albedo as our second half of the Geo Resonance and off-field support, as well as Fischl and Xingqiu for off-field damage support as well. The idea of this team is to get all your pieces in place: Albedo's Isotoma, Fischl's Oz, and Xingqiu's Rain Swords, and then go to town with Zhongli with an absolutely absurd amount of passive damage. Having Fischl and Xingqiu is especially important because of all the electrocharge triggers we can activate to deal even more damage in an area of effect. This comp simply shreds enemies, and because of how strong Zhongli's shield is now, we really don't need a dedicated healer. Xingqiu and the crystallized triggers will be more than enough to supplement Zhongli's protective capabilities. Xingqiu's swords will also reduce incoming damage, helping to keep Zhongli's shield up even longer to extend the debuff passive and all the benefits we receive from the Geo Resonance. It's also worth noting that having a C6 Fischl will be hugely beneficial to this team to avoid damage spreading around too thin, though not 100% necessary. Albedo is the best option while looking to fill out the Geo Resonance role. I'll make this case up front so that I don't have to repeat it for every team. As I said, Albedo is the best Geo support next to Zhongli. He can stay off field for up to 30 seconds, allowing your main DPS to deal as much damage as possible without having to switch back every few seconds to reactivate your support's abilities. He is also the best passive Crystallize hero. With Albedo, you can continually trigger Crystallize, leaving elemental shards on the battlefield that you can pick up at a later time, should you ever find yourself without a shield active. While Ningguang and the Geo main character are fine, they don't work in the same way that Albedo does or provide the same synergy. Noelle also does not play a supporting role well at all. So moving forward, I'll continue to recommend Albedo, however, feel free to replace him with any of the recommended alternatives while keeping my previous points in mind. While I do think that this is the best construction for this team, the last 2 slots you can really fill with whoever your favorite off-field supports may be. I've listed some that you could consider here. These aren't intended to only replace the hero they're next to though. All 6 can replace either Fischl or Xingqiu, depending on your preference. Next up is a pretty self-explanatory team, which is a Superconduct team. Again, we have Fischl as she is very powerful alongside Zhongli and is our best Electro applicator, again, especially with C6. Beyond that, bring along your cryo hero of choice. If you wanted to explore the cryo resonance, here would be the place to do it as we have access to 2 cryo healers. I just wouldn't play them at the same time. Even if you don't want the cryo resonance though, just make sure that at least one of your heroes does have some healing capabilities, just in case you get into a sticky situation, especially for Abyss where you don't have access to food. However, if you feel like you can get away without a healer, just bring your favorite off-field support, though if it is an off-element hero, make sure that you can properly manage your element's aura so that you don't mess up your superconducts. This third team is quite an interesting option. While it may not be the most competitive or whatever, I'm sure somebody out there will enjoy the gimmick of this team. Essentially, what we've got here is a freeze team without the freeze. Could we make this team with Hydro and Cryo heroes instead? Sure. But where's the fun in that? This team can also better use Albedo's skill since our quote-unquote freeze mechanic will be doing damage and can proc his blossoms. Both Venti and Sucrose produce a vacuum effect with their burst, and when used in tandem with Zhongli's petrification from his burst, we can crowd control enemies indefinitely. That being said, your larger enemies may not think it's as funny and probably won't care so much about a little wind. Next up is a pretty standard team. Both Pyro Resonance and Geo Resonance will ensure that we get the most damage that we can out of our resonances. Again, we have the core of Zhongli and Albedo, and beyond that, our Pyro core is Bennett and Xinyan. Zhongling would also suffice here for more off-field energy regeneration and damage, though Xinyan adds a bit more to the synergy of this team, providing an additional way to spark a shield, if you really find that you need one, and she will also increase Zhongli's physical damage and further reduce our enemy's physical resistance. Then of course we have Bennett, and what hasn't already been said about Bennett? He heals, he buffs, he deals pyro damage, he's half of our pyro resonance, he generates a lot of energy, he just does all the things. Unfortunately, he is the only Pyro healer that we have currently, and we don't have a Geo healer. So, if you're running this team comp in Overworld, you could get away without Bennett if you don't have him. Though, for Abyss, I would definitely think twice about using this comp if you're lacking our young adventurer. This next team, while I am showing off one specific team, is more of a theme than anything, and that is that as a support, he can fit pretty much anywhere. Zhongli isn't really a support hero that you need to specifically synergize with. Take Sucrose for example. While you can use her as just another Anemo hero or crowd control hero, she really shines when she's passing off large amounts of elemental mastery to your main hero to spark big damage reactions. Zhongli just works. You can pretty much just stick him into whatever team of 3 you'd like as a support and he'll make friends pretty easily. That said, this is one of my favorite teams using him as a support. This is a team I've showed off before, and I mentioned that it was one of Razor's best teams. However, with the buffs Zhongli and the Geo Resonance have gotten, this is now Razor's best team. One of the questions that you may have is, but where's your Cryo hero for Superconduct? For more mid-game players, you're absolutely right. Superconduct is much better. However, because of the physical resistance debuff we now get from Zhongli's shield, while it was possible for Bennett to outdamage Superconduct before, now it's even easier. With a C1 Bennett at talent level 6, you don't even need 500 base attack to outscale Superconduct, and that only gets easier if you level up his talent even further. You also have the added benefit of increasing the damage of Razor's skill and burst, plus all the damage from Zhongli and Albedo's burst. With Zhongli's shield, you basically never have to worry about Razor dying if you just throw him in the middle of enemies, and Albedo can stay off the field for 30 seconds, allowing Razor to really just rain havoc for quite a while. The last team we have for today, while usually being our free-to-play team and still is in this video, is also just a really good team, and I would have showcased this anyway, albeit with slightly different main choices. This is of course a mono Geo team, or if you want to get real technical, it's triple Geo, but I like mono Geo. For your main DPS, as far as our strictly free-to-play options go, Noelle is our best choice here, though if you do acquire Ningguang, she is an excellent choice as well, though she does play slightly different. You might have a little bit more trouble with shields, and that leaves us without our main source of healing, which comes from Noelle. If you've been here for any stretch of time, you may have heard me say that I don't think Noelle is a healer, and this is still true. I classify her as a main DPS that can heal, not a strict healer. So in this case, because we have access to so many shields, you pretty much will never need any heals. But if you do, she can help to share the load. The Geo MC is doing their best Albedo impression. While not as effective with their damage, they do generate more energy and more consistently than Albedo does, though you'll have to manage your switch-ins so that Noelle can collect the energy. Besides Zhongli, we lastly have Zhongling. While not directly providing any synergy to the team, she does add energy generation while off the field, so she has that going for her. She can also leave her burst on the field while you do the majority of your damage with Noelle. Though here Bennett is the better option for Pyro support, of course. He is not one of the original heroes that we get for free, but would be the most optimal upgrade. You could also exchange the Geo Traveler for Bennett to then run a double Geo double Pyro team, though you could run into some consistency issues with Noelle not having enough energy generated for her since she can't generate any energy on her own. Hopefully you guys have found this team guide useful and it will help you in deciding which heroes to move forward and build. Remember to vote in the poll below for which team you want to see a further breakdown for. If you liked what you saw and want to see more content from me, head over to my Twitch page, twitch.tv/xjazzy, or you can help support me right here on YouTube by clicking that red subscribe button, liking the video if you liked it, and clicking that notification bell. That way you never miss a video. And if you want to join our community over on Discord, link as always will be down in the description below. But guys, that's all I have for today. Hopefully you did enjoy, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.